School is an institution where formal learning or education is conducted. It is a place in which individuals gain universal and national values during childhood and develop individual knowledge and also skills. First of all, the existence of school institutions could not be denied as they play a vital role in our life. The first importance is to create employment opportunities, as it is not always simple to find well-paying work, especially during economic downturns. You will have to compete with hundreds of other competent individuals for the same job. In addition, the lower the educational level, the more applicants competing for low-paying entry-level positions. However, if you are well educated, skilled and have the necessary qualifications, you will have a far better chance on finding a well-paying and satisfying job. Other than that, education from school can also make students earn a higher income, live a prosperous and happy life, and also develop critical problem-solving skills. Moving on to the next point, which is the importance of school in our society. School is important for economic growth and development. When previously said, a well-educated and skilled individual has a better chance of landing a high-paying job. By paying taxes on a regular basis, these high-wage individuals may contribute more to the growth of a society. Money circulation will be better in a society with a bigger proportion of high-wage earners. More jobs will be created and economic growth will be boosted. Next, a school institution is important in order to make our society filled with education and stay educated, to build up equality, and also those who have attended school be aware of society's various concerns and recognize the need of stable community. Thirdly, the influence of schools on children's development begins in preschool and continues throughout childhood. It is a place where one spends a significant amount of time, and school tracks people from childhood to adulthood and also aids in a child's overall development and personality development. The way teachers engage with their students and facilitate student interaction has a distinct impact on each brain learning, and in school institutions, children can learn to develop themselves through positive interactions, widening horizons, building character, communal harmony and socialization, learning new things, and also social development. Last but not least, the importance of school is that it is enhancing socialization. Socialization relates to the continuing process of individuals who fill specific roles in society, acquires expected behaviors, beliefs, standards, and social skills. The social structures in which socialization takes place are known as agents of socialization. Family and school are key socialization agents, but so are the media, peer groups, and other major social structures like faith and judicial framework. Social approval is obtained when children accept the sanctioned goals of the school setting, and they are rewarded and reinforced on a consistent basis through social acceptance by teachers and other students.
The people of Bandar Sarjana Putra have expressed their dissatisfaction with the building of the primary and secondary school project, which has been on hold since December 2019. The wait for more than 40,000 residents, particularly those with school-aged children, is still ongoing after the school complex that was due to open this year failed to materialize. Residents are hoping that the school would be able to open in 2020, allowing them to stop sending their children to schools in Puchong, USJ, or Shah Alam. Shamsuddin Saleh, 50, a resident who has lived there since Bandar Sarjana Putra initially opened in 2005, said the children were taken to schools outside Kuala Langat district, such as Shah Alam, Subang and Puchong, because there were no schools nearby. Residents are also concerned that the building site will become a dengue-causing Aedes mosquito breeding ground. Although the majority of the building blocks have been erected, the construction area is calm and no work is being done while it is under the authority of RELA members. An outside study discovered that the primary school complex was nearby, but the secondary school building remained hidden. Residents report that the primary school is still in the planning phases with merely a frame for a structure. Residents of the apartment adjacent to the school also complained that the space used to be open but is now overgrown with shrubs. After contractors were deemed bankrupt and wound up, SMK Bandar Sarjana Putra and SK Bandar Sarjana Putra came to a standstill. SMK and SK were planned to be finished by September 30, 2019 and January 18, 2020 respectively. To finish both projects, the government will retender. The ministry is touring the area to examine what is going on and to identify the barriers that must be solved in order for the projects to resume. According to Dr. Razik Jidin, the Education Ministry is identifying long-abandoned school building projects around the country in order to hasten restoration work. The abandoned projects, according to the senior minister, might cause greater harm and raise building expenses. The building of both schools has been halted since 2019, and they intend to remove all bureaucracy under the MOEs or other agency control in order to speed up these stalled projects. The government will make early arrangement for the projects in 2021 so that they may be implemented appropriately and smoothly according to the set timeline. The same technique and approach will be used, but with all parties' cooperation, the duration may reduce in some cases. Meanwhile, 13.88 million ringgit was provided to SJK Tamil Headwood for the construction of 12 classrooms and other amenities, but the Tamil National Type Primary School remained incomplete due to the contractor's failure to meet the project's deadlines. Construction on the school was intended to start in June 2017 and be finished by March 23, 2019. After a 108 days extension was granted. The contractor, however, failed to make progress and was fired on August 20th of last year. With just 42% of the work accomplished and will hire a new one. The Ministry of Education will retender the project next year, with the school set to open in 2022.
Next, I will explain about a solution. Firstly is the legislation should be strengthened. First, tightening the legislation. People do wrong because the laws read by the government are so permissive. The tough law are essential to keep potential offenders fearful of the consequence if they do wrong before being detected. Instilling dread in the minds of the pupil is vital when dealing with wrongdoing. To be strict means that the punishment must be harsh enough that the wrongdoer will not dare to conduct the same infringement again, and that any potential offender will be scared by the repercussion of his or her acts. When punishing an offender, maintain proportionally so that the punishment is neither too severe nor too light, that the offender fears repeating the same wrongdoing again. For example, the government should use the same act of housing developer towards the school developers. Under the amendment to the Housing Development, Control and Licensing Act 1966, licensed housing developer who fail to complete the housing project and cause it to abandon shall be judged to have committed a criminal offence. This should be applied same as the school developers who cause the abandon for SMK Bandar Sarjana Putra and SK Bandar Sarjana Putra. A conviction can result in fine of not less than 250,000 and not more than 500,000, as well as imprisonment for not more than 3 years or a combination of this penalty. For that, the government should develop an appropriate remedy so that the issue will not happen in the future. The government needs to refresh back the policy that was formed and propose a new policy in the parliament so that developers be more careful in finishing the project. The government should not allow the developer to forsake the project for more than a year.
The next solution is rearranging the planning. Due to planning of school construction project at Bandar Sarjana Putra has failed to follow the timeline by the contractor in charge has caused the school construction projects have been abandoned since last year. As the outcome from this abandoned project, the Education Ministry MOE will have to retender the project, which is a wasteful and inefficient method in order to allow a speed up of the reconstruction work. The government taken this way by rearranging the planning in order to avoid from more damage that will be occurred and more costs are going to spend on this project if the construction work keep delayed.
Due to this, government have rearranged the plan by collaborating with new tender and contractor that have fulfilled the requirements and demands of government to complete the school construction according to the timeline given. The project management that has been appointed to handle this project have to be very prepared and have to come up with an organized planning. The first thing to do in order to ensure the success of the project is by planning and define the objectives in any project that are going to handle. The objectives have to be clear, specifically and measurable in order to make sure that every task of the project will be achieved. For instance, the company in charge prepared the work breakdown structure WBS for the selected team that will be a path for the progress of the project. Every task they are going to do have to follow according to the WBS. The other solution is promoting accountability and transparency. According to the Sun Daily 2020, abandoned projects which have resulted in the loss of millions of ringgit have been persistent and inherent problem in the government procurement process for construction. The present COVID-19 pandemic issue, which cries out for more money to be spent, has amplified the waste, with infrastructure being a crucial artery to boost the multiplier effect on the economy. Every year, the Auditor General's report would be filled with instances of waste and leakage as a result of failed projects caused by maladministration by ministries and government organizations, for example, in the industry of construction of the school. The schools has come to a halt due to insufficient due to diligence inspections of the contractor's financial history. Although pricing is consideration for selecting contractors, there are other factors to consider, such as project's track record and financial status, including gearing ratio and outstanding liabilities. The Malaysia Anti-Corruption MACC must open up an inquiry file right away to guarantee that no elements of corruption are there, because these are public money. There must be transparency in the case.
In the opinion, the construction of 3 public schools in Kuala Lumpur, which are SMK Bandar Sarjana Putra, SK Bandar Sarjana Putra and SJKT Headward, has been packed up due to the contractor of the project having a financial problem and bankrupt that caused to put the end of the project. Besides that, the project also failed to show any progress and caused the ministry to terminate the contract. It had caused not only the termination of the project, but also had caused huge losses to the Ministry of Education. This case should be taken seriously as it happens frequently in Malaysia. There are so many incompetent contractors that is eager to take a responsibility of a project, even though they are not capable enough to finish the project. There are also contractors, they are so greedy that take on more than one project at one time that is totally out of their capability to make the project done on time. At the end of the day, they leave the project abandoned for years. This case should be avoided as it will cause a lot of problems not only to the ministry but also to the developer and the contractor. The developer should take seriously in preparing the project as they are paid to finish the project. It is the developer's responsibility to make sure that the project is going smoothly and get to finish on time. It is important for the contractor to check on their financial budget before they agree to sign for a contract on a project. If they only have 5,000, it is impossible for them to agree to a project that costs 100,000. Financial planning is very important in project management as it is an important resource to finish a project. Without proper financial planning, it can cause a failure in finishing the project. The project manager should allocate the budget to every planning so that it will be easier for them to handle the project without having any problem. The project manager should not be eager to accept the project that is more than their financial budget, as it can cause a huge problem to the project that can lead to the abandonment of the project. Then, scheduling is very important in finishing the project. The project manager should schedule their time accordingly in order for them to finish the project on time. The project manager should appoint one person to estimate the time on the project. They need to allocate how many days or hours for one task can be done. It is very necessary to estimate a proper time for the whole project to be done so that they do not waste any resources such as money and time. It is okay to finish the project earlier than fail to finish the project and leave the project abandoned. Lastly, to avoid the project to be abandoned, the whole team needs to work together and cannot rely solely on the project manager. The ministry also plays their own role, same as the contractor. The ministry also needs to get an update on the project frequently so that the contractor will be more responsible to do the job. It is why project management is important so that they can run the project smoothly and abandonment of the project can be avoided in the future.
To sum up, in the future, as school is an important element of education, public authorities should take concern in this issue as many people are depending on the school construction, as many of them need to send their children to a school further away from their own residential area. This issue may seem small to others, but it is a big issue to them as they might be affected, such as arriving late to work, lack of vehicles or transportation to send their children, and many other problems as not everyone lives a wealthy life. Furthermore, if the construction area is stopped for too long, it is undeniable that the area is filled with mosquitoes, which will cause dengue. Other than that, various types of disease can appear if there are abandoned buildings and not properly cared for, as we want our citizens to be as fit as a fiddle and disease-free.